There are still many unknowns concerning last night's fatality in Toronto, but one thing is clear. It resulted from an altercation between a cyclist and a motorist. This summer, tensions between drivers and cyclists here in Ottawa have also been at a fever pitch following a hit-and-run incident in Canada where 5 cyclists were badly hurt. Reporter Steve Fisher is standing by live now with reaction from the street. Steve.
Dan, last night's fatal collision happened in Toronto, but it certainly struck a nerve with cyclists and motorists here in Ottawa, and perhaps no one more than Mike Pilon. In June 2008, Pilon was cycling along Main Street in downtown Ottawa when he says he was cut off by a car.
Caught up to him about 3 blocks later and tapped on his roof and said a few rather unkind things about his driving skills. And he took a look at me and just literally took his steering wheel 180 degrees, gritted his teeth, and turned into me. The car was at 45 degrees, and left me on the sidewalk with a broken leg and a mangled left hand, and then drove off.
Soon after, the driver did turn himself in at the police station. He was never charged.
I was blamed for provoking him. So I think there is a lack of understanding or lack of respect for bicyclists as being, responsible, mature people.
Pilon is just one of hundreds of cyclists who are involved in collisions with motorists on local roads each year. In July, 5 cyclists were badly injured when they were struck by a van in Canada. It's unknown what caused that collision, but it did bring long simmering tensions between cyclists and drivers to the boiling point. Those tensions were in evidence today with word of the courier's death in Toronto.
I think it's the attention span of drivers compared to cyclists, which is where you get the problem.
There's a lot of bad bicycles on the road. They just cut you off, they give you the fingers, and they just don't pay attention to any rules on the streets.
I find that a lot of motorists, not all by any means, but a lot of motorists are quite hostile to cyclists.
I had a guy sort of chase me one time, started swearing at me and screaming, and sort of gunned after me in his car a little bit, and it was a little nerve-wracking.
Police say it's time for both cyclists and drivers to take a deep breath.
Patience is a virtue, and I believe that if everybody has an approach of respect vis-a-vis others on the road, a lot of situations would never occur.
And Mike Pilon says he's learned his lesson. He cycles even more defensively, and he avoids any confrontation with motorists. And he says one piece of advice is for all cyclists: always wear one of these. He says it saved his life. Dan?
Great piece of advice. Thank you, Steve. That is the CBC's Steve Fisher.